Greetings everyone, my name is Annie and today's presentation also has Crystal, Irene, Suki and Jiajun. For this project, we are focusing on fashion and household waste issue. First, we'll introduce more about our topic and discuss the background of the issue. Then, we'll attempt to find a solution using the integrated thinking process, which has 4 stages. And this thinking process will help it lead to the conclusion in which our group will suggest a potential solution that can help reduce household waste through fashion. In these past few years, it's been hard not to notice the dramatic changes happening in the society that we're living in. Many experts have been raising awareness about the alarming rates of textile waste. Authorities and organizations have attempted to tackle this issue as well. However, it would only be a temporary solution if the consumers are indifferent to the issue. The statistics show that an average individual throws away their body waste in the rubbish every month. While our society has constantly raised awareness about the importance of the issue, it is essential that we as consumers have to take action to reduce household waste. Even though textiles do not take up much of the household waste percentage, it doesn't mean that it is acceptable for us as consumers to support fast fashion. In the US alone, 85% of textile waste is going to landfills in 2016. More than 60% of fabric fibers is synthetic, which derives from fossil fuels. Hence, we'll discuss how to shift towards sustainability while also being able to satisfy the consumer needs and adapting to trends and choices. For stage 1, we have made 2 distinct models, of which one of them is fast fashion, as you can see here. This model illustrated the increased sales of clothing. The significantly increase in the trend of product being produced from 100 billion to 200 billion units is alarming. And secondly, the majority of consumers are preferring fast fashion due to the attractiveness of prices and variety of product. And thirdly, it is not sustainable. The statistics show that 75% of disposed clothing are piling up in the landfills. Our second model illustrated the opposing idea, which is sustainable fashion. This is a recent movement within the fashion industry. It aims to reduce textile waste and environmental depletion, while also increasing the ethical treatment of workers. Moreover, it encompasses a variety of terms such as organic, green, fair trade, etc. And lastly, consumers' perception is also important in that consumers are shifting towards ethical buying decisions. Hence, they have the potential to change the face of the current fashion industry. Next, Crystal will talk about our essential components of the 2 models and the proposed chart.
In this presentation, the essential components of 2 models significantly differ from each other. While fast fashions aim at consumer preferences, affordable prices, economy of scale, and in Model 2, the sustainable fashions focus on the increasing consumer convenience, reducing environment pollution, and the ethical productions. For the proposed chart, we choose consumer, organization, and competitor as 3 stakeholders. And for fast fashion, the consumer are benefited as the trends are quickly adapt to the consumer taste and preference. Also, the prices are affordable for an average consumer. Moreover, they have a wide range of products, which is suitable for a diverse consumer preference. And in the fast fashion industry, organizations are benefiting from the economy of scale, cheaper production costs, and more consumer branding. And finally, for competitor, it has an easy barrier to entry to the industry, and it's also easier to define the trends at the current market. And finally, it's push the business operations faster. Considering sustainable fashions, consumers are benefiting from long-lasting products, environmental-friendly products, and those things create the consumer convenience. Organizations are benefiting as it creates more ethical working environment for employees, and this implies a better brand reputation to the consumer. It also lowers the production costs in long term as there is less pollution being produced per item compared to the fast fashion. And finally, it creates the originality in design, in which brands are able to creative according to their image. And with competitors, they are benefiting from a competitive advantage in brand image as and sustainable business grows as there are fewer chains in the industry. Finally, it will create more customer loyalty compared to the fast fashion. And in the next slide, Aaron will talk about the stage 2 in our model.
In the next stage, we compare two models and highlight the similarities and differences. So both of them are profitable in their own ways, and both fashion trends have their distinct goals, which make it easier for business to define goals and objectives that they are pursuing. However, it is pretty clear that they are different in material quality because fast fashion is targeted at a mass audience and sustainable fashion's audience is more niche. When fast fashion mostly uses petrochemical textiles due to the cheaper cost, sustainable fashion's materials are based on plant-based and cotton textiles. So this results in difference in cost of production as well. Also, better quality indicates longer time span of products when fast fashion is consumed quickly due to trends and can become discarded clothing much faster. Hence, sustainable clothing items often last longer than fast fashion clothing items. It is also really important to discuss the unethical issues in relation to fast fashion production, as employees have to work under a safe environment with the hourly wage that is even lower than the minimum wage in some developing countries. So, the essential benefits would lean toward Model 2 more since it focuses on the sustainability of fashion. Hence, it is desired to reduce household waste. However, Model 1 also has another essential benefit, which is the consumer, since fast fashion can adapt to trends very quickly. So, in a comparative industry like fashion, both can achieve consumer convenience in their own respective ways. Now we're moving on to the tensions. The first tension between these two models is a consumer purchasing power. It restricts consumer to engage in sustainable lifestyle as it is significantly more expensive than fast fashion. As fast fashion aims to adapt to the fast pace of trends, it shifts the consumer's preferences towards fast fashion as well. Production cost is also another conflict between these two models. Due to higher quality material needed in producing sustainable clothing, the production cost would be significantly higher in the short term. However, it is also really important to note the long-term cost of fast fashion production. Even though the cost of fabric might be lower, it causes long-term costs in terms of the environment. Although consumers are shifting purchasing decisions towards sustainable fashion, the price of sustainable clothing items are generally more expensive when we compare to fast fashion. It is reported that while 52% of consumers they desire the increasing trends of sustainability, only 29% of them are actually willing to purchase those items. So, for the tensions to go away, brands should focus on making the sustainable clothing items more affordable for the average consumers. While this may harm brands for the short run in terms of profitability, they would gain more benefit in the long run if we consider the brand's reputation and profitability. Next, we will have Crystal to talk about the causal relationship and the assumption of these two models.
In our causal relationship diagram, we consider two scenarios. The first one is sustainable fashion is more preferred to the greatest number of customers, household waste will be reduced, and the fashions would have less impact on the environment. And the second scenario, if fast fashions are also pursuing sustainable clothing line, the household waste also be reduced, and they also can have the chance to gain more customer loyalty and improve their brand image and revenues as well. And then is come to an assumptions, assuming that the consumer are aware of both the downsides of the fast fashions and they raise the awareness of protecting the environment as well, and this would increase to the great extent that they would take action such as boycotting or word of mouth to force the fast fashion brand to use more environmentally friendly material. And for the stage 3, Kelly will illustrate 3 distinct pathways.
First, I will illustrate our first pathway, which is hidden gems. Fast fashion clothes attract more customers through affordable price and diverse range of products, and therefore it produces higher profitability for organization. However, due to the low quality of clothes and the ever-changing fashion trends, it will lead to a significant amount of clothing waste. Sustainable fashion provides a durable and comfortable clothing, combined with ethical buying decisions as it aims to protect consumers. However, the increase in production costs implies the increase in the price of sustainably made products. Hence, our hidden gem focus on how sustainable clothing should be adapted to the ever-changing trends and to make a price more affordable for an average consumer. Moving on to our next pathway, which is double down, considering the leverage point in the diagram tree, showing the cause and effect of the key elements from the initial 2 models. We extend the fast fashion model and one key element of the sustainable fashion model. For our last pathway, decomposition, we illustrate the contrast in the production cost in 2 models. Fast fashion produces higher profitability through the economies of scale, in which it aims at lower cost per clothing item being produced. In sustainable fashion model, it is apparent that there will be a decrease in profitability as the production cost is significantly higher. Considering the organization's perspective, it is unrealistic to use either models. Excessive use of fast fashion will contribute damage regarding both the environment and the ethical issues. However, sustainable model also has drawbacks relating to the profitability and the competitiveness within the industry. Therefore, we decide to divide the resource of the original production line into 2 parts, in which the first part produces sustainable clothing items and the remaining continue to produce cheap products. This helps organizations to respond to the needs of environmental protection, while also beneficial for the company's image and maintain the profitability. Moving to the stage 4, Kelly will assess the prototypes.
First, we define the possibility in all 3 pathways for hidden game. We combine the core element of both models and come up with how to produce the clothing as in fast fashion model, while using the environmental friendly material efficiently at relevantly low cost and on a large scale. For Double Down, it focused on the profit-oriented. Fast fashion companies should expand their current profit maximization business strategy to achieve their organization's goal. For decomposition, it emphasized that while fast fashion are higher profits, sustainable fashion acknowledge reliable reputation to the company. Assuming that our solution is to make sustainable clothing items more affordable for customers, we will apply the logic of the solution to the age of the models. For our first pathway, we predict that it will result in an increase in customers with an enhancement of environmental consciousness. For our second pathway, we predict that the organizations might face a crisis from the competitors in capturing the market.
For our final pathway, brand make their both lines, providing both options for customers. Also, this may result in potential government subsidies for conducting in environmental friendly and ethical production. Our last step for stage 4 and also our presentation is to test each possibilities for our first pathway. A survey can be used to measure customers' understanding of the environment protection by customers. For the second pathway, the firm's financial report might be useful to indicate whether the company have made any profit within the financial period. And finally, another survey can also be applied to understand customer attitude toward the company.
So, the purpose of this presentation is to discover the impact of fast fashion and our shopping behaviors on the environment and household waste issues. We analyzed two models, which are sustainability model and fast fashion model, from the perspective of the consumer, manufacturer, and retailers. Then, we discover the pathway of double down, hidden germ, and decomposition. We came to a solution that sustainable clothing should be offered at affordable prices, which will increase the consumption. Therefore, less cheap clothing material will be thrown away, and as a result, the household waste, which is our main issue, will be reduced.